These 9 sweaty, bulky mercenaries would create the most culturally diverse child ever conceived, were they all to rent a hotel room for the night and have an orgy. Huh?
The wrong script, dumbass.
Oh, right. This is the wrong script. This is for my upcoming Team Fortress 2 romance fanfic, The Heavy's Payload. Well, nonetheless, there is actually an important point here. The Mercs in Team Fortress 2 are a very culturally diverse group, and by extension, so are their culinary preferences. I don't play the game as much as I did when I was a kid, but I do still play from time to time. How could I not? It's an absolute blast, and it reminds me of a simpler time in my life where my only responsibilities were harvesting potatoes from my potato garden as an after-school snack for when I played Mario Galaxy. I'm not even making that up. Recalling this fact eventually led me to wonder, what do the Mercs actually eat? The TF2 universe has no shortage of food themes, but this is never a question that's directly addressed. The Heavy's love for sandwiches and expiration dates bread theming are just 2 examples of food-related themes present throughout the game's story. Hell, there's an entire Meet The video dedicated to the sandwich. You might be thinking this is a strange question to ask, and certainly you might be right. However, food is an important part of culture, and it's essential to each Merc's character. And they can help us get a better glimpse into their lives, and help us relate to them more as actual people, were they not in a video game. All that being said, let's start with a guy who hails from a country that acts as a melting pot of cuisines from all around the world, the United States of America. Scout, being one of the 3 resident Americans in Team Fortress, lives up to his nationality, solely consuming greasy foods like fried chicken as seen in expiration date,
Both got buckets of chicken.
while constantly drinking sodas and energy drinks like Criticola and Atomic Punch, making him a heavy consumer of caffeinated beverages. This is supported directly by his motto seen in the Orange Box trailer for the PlayStation 3, where it's stated to be, "Too much caffeine." Beyond American staples, there is a reasonable expectation that the dude also is a heavy consumer of Dunkin', not only hailing from the state of Massachusetts, but the capital of Boston. With Dunkin's founding in 1950 in the neighboring city of Quincy, and the recruitment of Team Fortress starting in 1968, the likelihood of the Beantown native not getting an iced coffee of cream and sugar is next to 0%. Side note, the trailer for the PlayStation 3 version of the Orange Box is just so weird. Like, I get this was 2006, 2007, whatever, but why does he look like that? While Scout is certainly the embodiment of New England culture, the soldier acts as a more cliché embodiment of the American ethos as a whole. His culinary tastes are surprisingly unspoken throughout the Team Fortress 2 canon, though given his portrayal as a brash, patriotic American, it's entirely within reason for him to enjoy the classics, like a cheeseburger. However, in panel 17 of the 3rd issue of the TF2 comic, we do see him hallucinate pie, sandwiches, chicken, and what appears to be mashed potatoes while braving the Siberian wilderness. And given that the series takes place in the 60s and 70s, it actually makes sense for him to desire more home-style classics. Basically, his culinary preferences can be boiled down to that of the Cracker Barrel menu. If you don't know what that is, ask your dad. Pyro has a much more mysterious culinary palate, and much like his entire character, we don't really know what he eats. Assumingly, given that he is effectively a child, he probably likes sweets and treats. Candy, cookies, lollipops. Actually, as a matter of fact, there is evidence to suggest that he likes lollipops. The lollichop, a weapon which he wields both in-game and in Meet the Pyro, would further support his love of delicious, yummy snacks. Of course, it would be really amusing if he liked something far more rich and expensive like filet mignon. We actually brought in a real-life moldbun fan to test this theory, and we have a clip of him reacting to a photo of the Pyro eating filet mignon.
And then, oh fuck!
Now, let's be real. The offensive characters are boring. Don't get me wrong. A bucket of chicken sounds great. Throw me into a KFC and I'm a happy boy. Slap some mashed potatoes in there and you've got a party. However, it's not interesting. It's not exciting. Enter the Demoman, a Scottish lad whose entire diet is composed of alcohol, literally. In comic issue number 5, panel 37, the spy remarks that the reason the Demoman is in pain is because he's eaten solid food and water after solely consuming grain alcohol and aspirin for 10 years. While the other Mercs are seen to consume alcohol, it's generally some generic beer, whereas the Demoman is seen to be drinking scrumpy, rum, and cerveza, among other alcoholic beverages. Panel 57 of issue 1 shows that when he does eat, at least after being fired, he'll consume more Americanized junk food, like Doritos? Beyond MLG cuisine, he's also seen to eat pizza and, quote, bread in a can. Though, this last food might suggest that Scout isn't the only New Englander in Team Fortress. Interesting. Out of every single Merc, Heavy has the most varied and filling palate. In the game, he's portrayed to eat chocolate bars, a buffalo steak sandwich, which is really just a buffalo steak unless it's a sandwich, bananas, fish cakes, and most importantly, the ever-famous sandwich. Comic number 3 offers a more culturally aligned version of his culinary tastes, with panel 45 showing his family's dinner table consisting of onions, breads, eggs, meats, and stews, with panel 59 of the same comic also showing his sisters bringing in a bear to eat, accompanying the bear meat that Heavy already brought. One taunt in the game, Table Tantrum, depicts a similar spread of food, showing a pot surrounded by a ham leg, a corn cob, 2 tomatoes, a baguette, a roll-up can of sardines, wine, and a steak. All this to say that the guy enjoys an enormous variety of flavors, but at the end of the day, always seems to prefer the sandwich. This is shown an expiration date where Heavy begins to peruse a fridge, at first taking a chicken leg, only to throw it away in favor of the conference of lettuce, tomato, Swiss cheese, ham, and bologna that he calls the sandwich. The engineer, hailing from the state of Texas, occupies our last corner of American identity, showcasing a more laid-back and hard-working interpretation of the American ethos, which his culinary choices also reflect. He's frequently seen to consume such national staples like coffee and beer, and also, quote, loves barbecue. The Rancho Relaxo taunt would also further suggest this, as it depicts him relaxing under a teensy-weensy umbrella, while slugging back some beers. Truly, he is a real American. Taking a gander at the Texas Roadhouse menu, we can see a slew of options that might appeal to the native Texan. Perhaps he'd fancy the chicken critters and ribs, fully equipped with buttered corn and mashed potatoes. At least that's what I assume Texans like. The closest I've ever been to Texan culture was while I was on a train going through the state, which got so close to the Mexican border that I got an actual text saying, "Welcome to Mexico." Germany, a country very culturally distinct from that of Mexico, is where the medic claims his heritage. Our knowledge of the freaky doctor's diet is limited, and he's never depicted as eating anything in the games or otherwise. However, in Meet the Medic, we can see that he has bottles of beer in his fridge. The Cheers taunt also depicts the medic with a beer stein, implying that he likely takes place in cultural events like Oktoberfest, where the line where he screams, "Oktoberfest!" not proof enough of this. The sniper, much like the medic and Pyro, is lacking information to really get a clear picture as to what kind of food the guy eats. In Meet the Sniper, we see him drinking an entire pot of coffee throughout the day to the end result of creating Girardi. His variant of the Cheers taunt also depicts him with a thermos, likely containing coffee, an understandable beverage choice given his occupation as a sniper, which of course requires a high level of focus and attention. The Outback Steakhouse menu offers us a glimpse into what a true Australian like the sniper might eat. And what's that?
Sam Reed said it's not Australian.
Sam Reed said that Outback Steakhouse isn't Australian?
It's American.
It's American?
They're in Florida.
They're based in Florida?
They're in Miami.
That can't be right. Oh my god, it is. The last and final Merc we have yet to cover is the one with inarguably the most refined culinary palate. The Spy. Hailing from France is a man of culture, class, and romance. A man like this engages in the finer things in life, and in multiple pieces of Team Fortress 2 media, like expiration dates, is depicted to be in possession of finer alcoholic beverages, like wine. In panel 22 of issue number 2 of the comic, the Spy consumes a miniature farm-raised Cornish game hen and a glass of wine while in prison, all of which were sourced from secret compartments in his teeth. What it ultimately suggests is that even in a rough and tumble environment like a prison, he'll still ensure that he has the food and drink to match his culinary desires. While the dietary preferences of all the Mercs is not entirely known, what is certain is that all of them bear unique choices and desires. Really, what I personally take away from all this is that despite all the brutal battles these guys go through, they're eating good. Like, really good. Imagine this. If you hold a potluck with all 9 Mercs, you could have a Cornish game hen with atomic punch and a side of bear, not beer. Sounds absolutely scrumptious. Though, at the end of the day, we do know that if the Mercs have dinner together, they can ultimately share a lot of food, but most importantly, can share plates and plates of sandwiches together. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and follow me on Blue Sky for all video updates. However, if you're more jazzed just about when I upload, then subscribe. Guess what? I'm back. For real. In a real big way. I've got a ton of Valve and non-Valve related stuff coming up extremely soon, because I'm finally returning to weekly uploads, baby, every Sunday. Though, until then, take care of yourself, and remember to love thy neighbor. Peace out.